Hi everyone, welcome to the DoubleClutch.ca podcast. I'm your host, Nick, and I'm joined in studio with my co-hosts, Imran and Nathan.
For those who might not already be aware, we are a dedicated gaggle of gearheads who started a car magazine 10 years ago. Some of us have been here the entire time, some of us are relatively new. And Nick, why don't you tell us about what we got in the garage this week?
Well, we got a couple Porsches this week. We got a Taycan and a 911 GTS. We also got a 6-speed manual Nissan Z and a Lexus NX 450.
Yeah.
NX 450, the plug-in hybrid.
Yep.
And last but not least, and I'm probably missing a few here. Last but not least, also a 6-speed manual Subaru WRX. Nathan, no. Imran, are you used to the body cladding yet?
I feel like people might hate me for this, but yeah, I kind of like it. When I saw it in pictures, I was like,
yeah.
But it kind of looks cool.
I don't hate it as much as I used to. I still am opposed to it on principle, but it's growing on me.
Well, that's what happens with every WRX that's come out since the dawn of time. People on the internet hate on it, and suddenly it ain't so bad.
Yeah, it's just like something about it. It's very rally feeling to me. I want to take it off-roading somewhere and just be a complete hooligan. I thought that rear plastic black bumper would turn me off completely.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It feels weirdly rugged. I don't know if it actually is, but it feels like it is, and it makes me want to do bad things in the dirt.
Yeah, there is a certain level of toughness with the stupid ridiculous black body cladding, because you can pick up gravel chips and not worry about it because you're not damaging paint. The leading edges of the car are all protected.
Yeah, and World Rally Blue with that.
It's the proper color.
Yeah, you got a nice spec on yours. Yeah, we've had a couple red ones,
Yeah.
I think, and it works. But the blues is what color that car is supposed to be.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
maybe we should just clarify here, if you haven't seen the WRX. I mean, hopefully you're Googling it as we speak, but there are some significant wheel well, what do we call it? Bordering trim pieces.
Yeah, there's fender arches that are like a weird hexagonal shape, exaggerated hexagonal shape.
Yeah, 2.5, 3 inches around, and the back bumper's all black plastic.
It's the fenders that lose me. I've seen various aftermarket companies. The names of said aftermarket companies are slipping my mind right now, but I do know for a fact that people have started fucking with the body cladding. And you know what? When the body cladding is color matched around the wheel wells, it actually looks kind of good.
I can see that working really well. Really well.
I feel weird. I leave it as is. I'm cool with it. It's
I get where you're
different.
coming from. It's growing on me, and it's not that bad. I don't hate it as violently as much as I used to. Speaking of which, Nick, I don't mean to point this out on air, but you forgot another car we have in the garage this week that I guess we'll save to the end because that was a fun one.
You have a hot take for that.
I do have a hot take for that vehicle. Back to the Rex, but I think it's a kind of thing where we can see that. I don't know. I think if I saw an image of it painted up properly, I could see that working really well.
Yeah, I haven't. I don't know. It's growing on me now that I've had it for a few days. It feels different. It feels like nothing else on the road, so to speak, which is kind of novel in its own way.
Yeah.
But yeah, otherwise, the car itself is surprisingly fun.
They drive pretty well.
Yeah, the manual's not fantastic. And I'm going to plug my new Integra Type S that I have, and I feel spoiled because when I drive that and then I drive the WRX, it's quite the difference.
Yeah.
When it comes to transmission, but power is good, even though it feels a little old school. It doesn't really make power until 4,000 RPM, which is
it's almost endearing, that torque curve.
Yeah.
It's a tiny bit old school. It's not as old school as it used to be. They've really tried to iron the quirky character out of the engine, and it's still there.
Yeah, which is, at first I was kind of where's the torque? Because you're so used to having, all these cars now make peak torque at 1800 RPM
Yeah,
or 2200
right off idle,
RPM,
basically.
and this doesn't. Like this,
you
you
have to
have
work
to
for
kind
it.
of ring it out,
Yeah.
and at first you're kind of like, and then after you're like, wait, this is kind of fun.
It's surprisingly good. Like, because we had one last year, and I remember driving that with like the most pathetic of expectations for it, and it
Yeah.
really impressed me. That thing's pretty fun. Like, I think the only like drawback with that car is just like I find the front end, the steering is like weirdly overboosted and kind of numb.
So
have you not noticed that?
So I feel that it's very light.
It's very light,
Very
yeah.
light. Yeah. I was looking for. I'm like, there must be a setting to tighten this up.
Yeah.
There isn't.
And
I
there isn't.
kinda-
It's just like that.
I kind of like the fact that it's basically a one and done package. Like, there's no drive modes. There's no like.
I really like that.
Yeah.
I hate drive
So
modes.
What you
No drive modes.
like, you get what you get. Deal with it.
Although I will say that I had the BRZ last week, or
Yeah.
BRZ, and its suspension felt better sorted in the sense of it handled great, and
Yeah.
it was more comfortable than the WRX. The WRX kind of crashes over bumps a little bit.
Beers that was more comfortable.
Yeah,
Relax.
yeah. I feel really weird saying this, but I was thinking about this
Wow.
really hard.
Yeah.
But it feels like the WRX crashes harder over.
Interesting.
It
Over
might
bumps.
just be a proxy of it being just a heavier car, and the suspension has to work that much harder to absorb the body motions.
Yeah, you did have the luxury of like driving those two back to back. When I reviewed them last year, I had the WRX and the BRZ both stick, but maybe like 2 or 3 months apart.
Right.
I did find the WRX road maybe a little bit harsher than I was expecting, considering how comfortable other Subarus are.
Yeah.
No, bro,
And-
sports.
And I also found that the BRZ, while still rode firm, it was much improved over its predecessor, which we've discussed this in great detail last week. But I don't know. I didn't find the BRZ was more comfortable than the WRX. That
I can see. No, I
I'm-
think I get what Imran's saying.
Yeah.
Because like I can see that the Rex would like crash harder, would have like firmer shock
Yeah.
compression, and you would feel that transmit more to the body. Comfortable is more subjective because I think the BRZ has less travel and it's a smaller
Yeah, fair
car,
enough.
so you feel it
Yeah.
more, but it's just softer. So it's just like more. I think a little more like primary vibration you're feeling coming through the chassis, but less body motion in the BRZ.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or more. I'm getting mixed up here, but I hope y'all know what I mean. Someone's got to know what I mean, guys. Help me out, please.
Sure, Nathan.
Okay.
Does that make sense, though? Like, help me out here.
Yeah. So you're saying
Because
that
the BRZ is a shorter wheelbase car.
Yeah.
Right.
So you would feel the motions transmit through the body more because
Correct.
there's greater leverage acting on the shorter lever.
Yeah.
That is the shorter chassis.
but
Yeah.
And it has less travel. But there's greater just banging primary motion, like just primary vibrations coming through the damping on the WRX because it has bigger wheels and more mass, and it's all being transmitted through the chassis.
so I think that
I may be way off base here. I'm
so
not an engineer. I'm
so
just a guy.
The BRZ going over a pothole felt like it was rounded off. Like the impact was rounded off a little bit. And the WRX felt like it was
It
just
crashes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
harsher,
Yeah,
which is
will
not
crash.
what I expected.
Yeah,
I
because
thought it'd be the other way around.
Yeah, because there was more mass leaning on that shock
Yeah.
tower, just banging into
Yeah,
it.
I think that's what it is. But overall, surprisingly good car, and even for the price.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about
It's
it earlier.
really good value, eh?
Yeah.
Like lower. Okay, so you kind of lose me as you climb up through the trim level ladder, which we'll get to. But it starts at what, 32K?
I think 32. I saw one on,
That's
on
34.
like, on a
34. I just looked it up.
34 now? Yeah. So I saw
34.
one last year on a Subaru showroom for 32.
Yeah. That's pretty good value.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
that's great. Like what else can you get in, like at 32? Say low mid 30s.
Low to
Like,
mid
the only
30s
cars I
with
can think
all-wheel
of.
drive?
Well, no, nothing else is
Yeah.
all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm probably
Mazda
forgetting.
3.
that. That's right, the Mazda 3.
Turbo.
Isn't that closer to 40 though? Isn't the Mazda 3
I think
all-wheel
it's.
drive?
I think it's
mid-30s.
off the top of my head. I like 36. I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they come like by default pretty well equipped, and they're also automatic only. So that's
Yeah.
probably a default no for
Yeah.
a lot of people.
So
But they're great cars.
the trim we have of the WRX is the Sport, I believe, and it's priced at 39.3. At
That's
39.3,
really close to 40.
what are you taking instead?
Ooh, what? what don't you take for?
I don't know
Okay,
anymore.
if you don't need, and this is the consensus that I came to in my review last year, my hot take. If you don't need all-wheel drive, you can do a lot better for like 40, 45K-ish. Because the limited tops out at 44-ish, I believe.
Yeah, I wouldn't do the limited.
Yeah.
At 39, I think.
Yeah.
There's still a
all-wheel
business case
drive,
for it
like,
at 39.
Yeah, like you're talking the Civic Touring that I had a few weeks ago, which I loved. I thought it was
Yep.
fantastic. But I mean, you're getting almost 100 less horsepower.
Yep.
You're getting
Yeah, it's
front-wheel
not a sport
drive.
compact. It's just a nice little economy car.
Yeah, it's way better. Like the interior is leaps and bounds
Yep.
better in
Yeah.
the Civic. But in terms of like what you're getting
Civic
for
Si?
performance wise,
A Civic Si.
You can get a Civic Si.
so Civic Si is what now? 40?
No, a Civic Si like 34, I think.
Is it?
It was 33 last year because I remember comparing it to
Yeah.
the Integra A-Spec that I had. I think it was 33 last year. It's probably gone up a little bit.
I want to say mid to high 30s.
Okay, I'm going to look this up online while you guys keep chatting.
39 to 40 is also well within hitting distance from the Elantra N.
I was going to say the Hyundai N cars were a no-brainer.
Oh, yeah.
They're the best driving cars under 50. Best driving front-wheel drive economy cars.
I'm sad to
under 50
say-
grand you can buy.
That I've yet to drive one.
Oh, they're magnificent, dude. They're so good.
Yeah.
You
39
can
to
really
40,
feel the poaching from the M division. Like they're so good.
relatively base-ish, or maybe even a mid-spec GTI.
I wouldn't do a GTI. We were discussing this off
Yes.
mic earlier.
I
I wouldn't do a GTI just because the infotainment is so aggressively awful.
Yeah. You do the GLI,
A
which
GLI
is-
is a no-brainer. They're
Yeah.
terrific cars.
Yeah.
Really? Like it's
Yes.
like a GLI. I haven't driven the new ones. I used to own I had like a 2014 or something. I actually really enjoyed it.
Probably almost nothing's changed.
But like the GLI on paper today looks like a worse GTI.
It looks like a worse GTI, but like it's still 230-ish horsepower, and it feels like way more than that. That car did not feel
Yeah.
slow. That car did not feel like it
Well-
felt way more pokey than 230 horsepower.
Even with like the Mark 5s and Mark 6s when they were rated at like 200, 210 horsepower, they felt way
Yeah,
more peppy.
they feels quick. They sound great, like a lot better than the Golf GTI and Golf R. I don't know how or why. I don't know what they set up differently on the GLI, but it
Yeah.
sounds way more throaty.
Oh.
Almost like a little sprinkling of like classic Subaru burble in there.
Interesting.
I find they're a lot more usable because you have like a giant back seat and a giant trunk, and they
Yeah.
handle well, and they're pretty light, and they're well made, and they have the good older infotainment. Like my GLI tester last year was 32 grand. Like fantastic value.
That's fair. The
Yeah.
SI, by the way, 37.6 now.
37.6 now?
Yeah.
Wow.
Not including freight and PDI.
Ew.
So yeah, we're talking damn.
I guess
40K.
not ew, but that's a big jump year over year.
That is a massive jump.
Yeah.
It's a lot for still 200 horsepower, right?
Yeah.
Well, what's a base Integra A-Spec go for?
I don't know. Mine last year was like decked loaded because an A-Spec
Yeah.
it is the loaded one.
Yeah.
And then the
Sorry, let me rephrase that. What's the cheapest stick Integra you can buy?
and that's the rub. So you can only get the stick on the A-Spec, and I think it's like a
Right.
$1,000 or $2,000 option. So I remember my tester last year was 43 grand, which at the time was 9 more than a Civic Si.
Yeah.
And as much as I like that car, like in a vacuum, it's a
Yeah.
nice vehicle. But like when you start talking about dollars and cents and what else is out
Yeah.
there, it falls apart in a hurry.
Yeah. Well, even the WRX, like in a vacuum, it's a great car. It's peppy. It's stick. It's pretty good in winter too. But when and Imran just has his phone out, he is showing us the
A-Spec.
A-Spec.
A manual Integra is like the cheapest manual Integra is now $47,000.
Jesus.
It's hard. to
Okay,
be a
so
car
so
enthusiast.
so both the Civic Si and the Integra picked up a year-over-year price gain of like
Sig-
$4 grand. That's
Alright.
a lot on a $30,000 car. That's a
yeah,
lot.
percentage wise,
Yeah.
like that's insane.
All right, here's a question for you fellas. If you're going for a WRX Limited, fully loaded, all the bells and whistles, as far as I know, you can only get the Limited with the CVT for about 44-ish grand.
No.
Would you spend the extra $3 to lose all-wheel drive, gain the manual, and a much nicer interior?
No.
Ooh, that's if those are my only two options,
Like between
Yes.
an
If you have
automatic
those-
WRX and an Integra A-Spec?
I would go
stick
to
Integra
I'd
A-Spec.
go A-Spec. if those were the only two options, yes. But if we're adding the SI into the mix, I would save
I take an
$10,000.
SI. Can I just jump off a bridge instead? Although, granted, having said that, I mean, like, so we had Addy had a WRX Sport Tech, so like loaded-ish with the CVT last year.
Yeah.
It was surprisingly good. Like, actually, honest to God, I know you're going to
Like
look
the
at me like I'm
CVT?
dumb.
Yeah.
Actually,
You know what?
surprisingly good.
Wow.
The CVT WRX is what the Legacy GT should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the Legacy GT I had. That car made a lot of sense to me. I don't love modern Subarus, which kind of pains me because like that brand used to be like very near and dear to my heart for no reason in particular. I just liked the way the wagon looked in Gran Turismo 1.
Okay.
And yeah, the Legacy GT made a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Like that carries Subaru's like new mature thing.
Oh, yeah.
Way better.
Yeah. Like, I still have a massive soft spot for the 4th gen Legacy GT.
Yeah.
Having driven the new one, it is a little underwhelming, but when I got into the WRX, I stole it from Maddie for a weekend, and I was like, yeah, this is what the Legacy GT should be. It's got the hood scoop.
Yeah.
It's automatic, but it's actually responsive.
I think
And
that CVT is the best one on the market. It's actually
Wow.
super impressive.
I
It's
would.
very good.
I wouldn't
It's-
think that I would say that I need to experience a CVT, but it. A specific.
Like I'm not saying
CVT.
like wow, it's amazing. You should really
Yeah.
get it,
Yeah.
but like
It's
for what it is, it's actually quite impressive.
By
Alright.
no means is it better than any sort of dual clutch that you get in the GTI or a GLI, but again, for a CVT,
So impressive.
pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Nice. So Subaru spent money there,
Yeah.
and have like the hollowest of interior panels in existence.
Yeah.
You know what?
The stuff that counts, okay? They got the most ballin' ass CVT in the business,
Alright.
and you're on your own.
I would like.
I actually don't mind the WRX's interior, and here's where I'm coming from. Having just reviewed the Crosstrek Onyx, I totally thought that the that the Crosstrek's interior was going to be was going to be just a little more similar to the WRX's in that it had slightly nicer materials, a bit more stitched panels, but I don't know. It just felt the Crosstrek felt underwhelmingly cheap, and I've made no bones about the lack of cohesion in that interior.
Yeah.
But if only the Crosstrek had the WRX's interior, I would like the Crosstrek a lot
If the
more.
Crosstrek had the WRX's engine, that'd be pretty terrific.
That'd be
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
that's the move they should have been making. Like,
Well, apparently now Subaru Japan has a lifted Levorg. I think it's called the Levorg Layback,
yeah.
which is basically a jacked up Levorg with body cladding. And as soon as I saw those pics that actually Arthur, shout out Arthur, hey man, sent us in the Double Clutch chat, as soon as I saw those pics, the first thing I thought was, fuck, Subaru is really going through a lot of effort to not give us the Crosstrek XT that everyone wants.
Nick, help me out here. I'm not super up on JDM things anymore. Can you fill me in on what a Levorg is?
So a Levorg, barring the extremely weird name, is essentially a WRX wagon.
Oh,
I see.
No body cladding.
I was going to say, did I also notice it didn't have body cladding?
The standard Levorg does not have body cladding.
Oh, okay. Because I remember like looking at those pictures, like I don't know what that thing is, but it looks
Yeah.
actually pretty handsome.
It's been
I'm
around
into that.
for
Yeah.
It's been around for a couple of generations now.
Okay. Levorg.
As far as I know, they're CVT only, but it's a goddamn WRX wagon.
Levorg.
oh, that's cool. I know it's an interesting name. I
Weird
wonder
name.
what it means.
I
Okay.
think in Australia it's actually called the WRX Sport wagon or something like that.
that tracks, yeah.
But in the land of the rising sun, it is the Levorg.
Anyone want to? Hey, I'm gonna Google Translate that.
Well, while you do that, so overall WRX solid
Yeah.
car. Yeah, could be the interior could be a little better, but it's not bad for how much you're paying. But we have a lot of other really cool shit.
We do. So cool shit number one in the garage this week is the 911. Is the Porsche 911. Okay, here's the full name: the Porsche 911 Carrera 4 GTS. So from now on, we'll just call it the 911 GTS. It is a technically good car, but it just doesn't stir much emotion for me. It doesn't tickle my brain the same way as the LC500 or the M8 Comp does.
So first of all, just to give everyone a visual, it's what, Carmine Red, I think it's called?
Yes, lovely spec. Carmine Red, so a little darker than Guards Red. It pops beautifully in the sun.
Yeah.
It's more, when the sun hits it just right, it's orange-ish. It's a bit of an orange tinge to it. It's got satin black wheels with the center locking lug nut.
Useless for a street car,
I
but
hate
yeah.
the center locking lugs, man.
Yep.
Like, I'm a big fan of like right to repair, and that is so like,
Yeah.
go fucking die.
Yeah.
Like,
And-
don't touch your car ever. Like, I hate that.
Yeah.
And
Nobody needs it.
interior is basically there's a bit of leather in there, but I'd say it's mostly Alcantara, and it's obviously got the red seat belts that probably cost like $500.
Yeah, probably more. And then I love the red analog tachometer. That's pretty cool.
Bring back analog gauges.
Yeah,
they
please.
look so much better.
Porsche does analog plus digital
Really
very
well.
Yeah, but they're getting rid of it on the next model.
Are they actually?
Yeah, at least I saw spy pictures where it's all a digital screen.
So
Do you
basically
know how
the-
much money those needles cost, dude?
Yeah, but it's
5
Porsche.
cents.
Charge $2,000 for an analog gauge option.
bet they
People
will.
People will buy it.
Actually, I can almost guarantee they will.
Call it now. They're going to release
Yeah.
some sort of
Heritage edition.
heritage edition of the GT3 of the next gen GT3, and it's going to have a stick and analog gauges, and it's going to cost like $750,000.
I
And before it's released,
I think
they'll all be sold out.
It's going to manifest more in the shape of, it'll just be like a heritage gauge cluster, and that'll be a $4,000
Yes,
option.
yeah, very much
Yeah.
so. But I know, Nick, that's your presser. I liked it. In a day and age where turboed cars sound terrible, I think it sounded pretty good.
It's a great soundtrack. It's a good mix of like a bit of that classic flat six.
I didn't get that.
No, I got a bit of it.
I didn't get that. Dude, we just drove like that in a classic flat six today, and like it's got nothing.
So
on that.
my Boxster sounds better. I will plug myself
Well, you also
here.
Yeah.
you also have it normally aspirated.
like-
Plus, you did a lot of work to
like
the exhaust.
Yeah, the Boxster I was playing with that has had no work done to the exhaust and needs catalytic converters.
Oh, I think
also
sounds great.
way better.
Yeah, that
like,
sounds great too.
It's like there is like kind of like the Subaru like flat burble. Like there is a little bit of that
Yeah.
in there that this car does not.
But
have.
but I think if you compare it to other Porsches that are naturally aspirated or whatever, sure, it doesn't sound as good, but on its own,
it sounds pretty. Like it sounds cool. It's surprisingly loud.
It
actually.
is,
Like,
it
It
Yeah.
is,
remarkably
yeah.
loud.
And you also kind of get a bit of intake noise. Maybe that's just me, but I kind of picked up on
Yeah.
just a
Yeah.
little bit of
Do
an
we-
intake whistle in
Do
there.
we know if Porsche does the speaker augmentation garbage?
I don't know.
Couldn't tell you.
I'm going to assume yes.
Most likely. But it also helps that the engine is literally behind your...
Yeah,
behind
and
your face.
you if they do some speaker enhancement, you don't really like the sounds feel like they're coming from the back. Like
Yeah.
it feels natural.
Yeah.
And speaking of that engine, how much power does that thing have?
5 million. It's a Porsche. They underrate everything.
I feel like 440. We should know this, but I feel like 444 is the number.
I feel like
It's-
it's 444, but like in typical Porsche fashion, it's probably 444 on 87 octane at 10,000 feet with bad spark
Yeah.
plugs. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll admit, Imran, you got me this week. I know I always grill you with the
MSRPs.
MSRP or the as tested prices.
I got
but
him.
Yeah.
you finally got
It just
me
has a
now.
lot of power.
It does.
Do you need to
Yeah.
know? It's just
No,
it's a lot.
so that's
The
a
car's
point- that's a
fast.
point I was trying to make.
473.
473.
473
Okay.
horsepower.
So 444, I think, is the regular S, but
Yeah.
it has way more power than you need. I do like how they tried to, I guess, mimic a naturally aspirated power curve. There's not like a swell of torque that happens immediately. Like it does build up power as the revs climb.
It doesn't quite whack you in the lower back quite like the WRX does, or pretty much any other.
Or the
Any other like older turbo
EQS.
car, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get that
to
later.
We'll get to that.
But yeah, I don't know. I got the I get the impression that it's a technically great car. It makes all the right noises.
Yeah.
The power delivery is lovely. There's actually a good amount of steering feedback to it.
Agreed.
Steering is responsive, but it just doesn't really.
It's too sterile.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't really invoke the same amount of emotion out of me as the M8 competition or an LC500 would do at a fraction of the price.
Yeah, it's a little too sterile. It's too perfect for me, and this is the weirdest nitpick. It's too perfect. I feel like we were talking about this off mic. They spent way too much time. Like, it feels like the engine sound that they made is like over curated. It's too perfect. It's too like carefully manicured, and I feel like that's the centered draw of that car. Like, outside of the fact that it's a 911 and they sell themselves and they're stupidly fast and bomb-proof reliable.
Yeah,
I feel like this is something I thought about a while ago when we were talking about the Challenger, and I forgot to bring this up on mic. If you were deaf, would that car be exciting?
The Challenger?
No, the 911.
Oh.
Think about it.
It would.
I don't think like the car doesn't feel like anything. It is technically absolutely masterful. The chassis is impeccable. It all feels good enough. It just doesn't feel like anything.
Yeah, I get what you're saying in the sense of when you're talking about the LC, you were talking about the M8. The 911 is the car that I'd take to the track if you're telling me to pick one.
Yep.
That's the one I would take there because
that's the correct answer.
Perfectly capable. But I get what you're saying in terms of the hooliganism aspect of it and the sort of theater. Because it's so perfect, it doesn't necessarily have that. And I don't know if it's because we have a Carrera 4, like an all-wheel drive. Maybe the rear-wheel drive version is a little bit more fun, playful. I don't know, but I completely agree.
You would have to be going so fast to get anything out of that rear-wheel driveness.
Yeah.
Because the chassis is so perfect. I think that's the other problem with the car is that, like, if you're
grip.
doing anything to make that chassis feel like it's beginning to think about working, you have lost your license like half an hour ago. Like, it's so fast.
Yeah.
It's very good. Like, it's probably the best car I've ever not liked. It's so good. It's perfect.
I don't
like it at all. Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't kick it out of bed.
I don't know. I've always been Cayman over 911.
Yeah. Okay. The mid-engine chassis definitely more playful.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. There's something you said about the 911s, like, and this is, I guess, exactly what we're talking about. Just its flawlessness in terms of like, you can just mash the throttle on a damn near 500 horsepower car, and it'll just connect and go.
Yeah, every time without fail. There's also something to be said for, like, it's a 911. It looks like a 911. It has the presence of a 911. Like, that's why they sell themselves. Everyone wants a 911 as, like, their stupid Oakville bougie daily. Even they should be buying M850s because that's the way better daily. But, like, that's what that car is for. Is you buy the 911 because it's the 911. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
And this is just the spicy 911, but not the crazy spicy 911.
I want, and hopefully we get one at some point, like a 911T. Yeah, a lot of people talk about that, lighter base engine, which I think I've driven a base 911, 992, and I thought it was more than enough power. I think it's around 400 or something, I don't know, but way more than enough. But I'd be curious to drive a 911T.
Yeah, me too. I feel like peak modern 911 was like the 9972.
Oh, yeah.
And even then, like, those cars, I see those cars being used as just like commuter dailies. Just for people who want to flex. And, like, they're too sports car-y for that.
Yeah.
Like they ride, like, they're hard. They're, like, really talkative and communicative, which is great in a sports car, but that's not usually what they get used for.
Yeah, I'm very upset that the prices on those have skyrocketed.
Yeah. I feel like most of them are just companion pieces for the Cayenne next to it in the garage. Like...
Fair enough.
Yeah, but, like, here's the thing. For 80... Well, like, on the used market, they're, 80-ish?
It depends. 80 to 100, depending on spec.
Yeah, I think so.
Versus just over 200 grand as tested for our
That car is 200 grand?
Yeah, they're not cheap.
I know they're not cheap, but, like, that doesn't even have... I'm not sure that car is special enough for 200 grand. which
Yeah.
is something we'll get into with another car that's also 200 grand and not
Absolutely.
special later.
But I feel like a 9972 is modern enough, and it still tickles the analog parts
Yeah.
of your brain without managing to cost 200 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 997.2 is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're
That's-
what is that? 09 to 12, right? I think.
Thereabouts, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. They just have a very like raw feel to them. They feel sports car.
Yeah. And like, that's what a 911 should sound like.
I feel like that's going to be the next, like, you know, how everyone now is like fawning over Radwood and Oblivion era 80s and 90s cars.
Yeah.
I feel like that's going to be the next big thing, like early to mid 2000s when cars were starting to feel modern but still managed to blend like that analog nature that we love. I feel like that's going to be the next big thing.
The next big era. So what
Yeah.
else falls in that category? We're talking
I'm trying to
early
think,
to
'cause
mid
there's a problem,
2000s.
like,
E39 and 5. That's
Well,
the first thing
that's
that comes to
Yeah.
mind, although
I
I'm
would
biased.
categorize that more late 90s ish, because when I think of mid 2000s, I think of when
E60 M5?
I think of E60 M5 when things are like way big and crazy complicated and usually very heavy. Cars were like fat between like 05 and 15.
Yeah.
And they've only started to trim back a little bit now just to meet like emissions targets and cost, because they realize that much metal is expensive. Like there's a like 500-pound chasm between an 02 Mercedes E55 and an 03 Mercedes E55.
That's nuts.
That's a lot of weight to
Yeah,
put on in a year.
and in those extra 500 pounds, you get a marginally bigger car, but you get air suspension that doesn't work. You get a supercharger that doesn't work. You're still stuck with a stupid open differential.
Yeah.
Like I don't know where it went other than for crap that wasn't needed.
Yeah.
I feel like the sweet spot you're talking about is like late 90s, early 2000s. Mid 2000 onwards, at least for me in my head, the cars I think of are kind of...
Yeah, that's fair. I kind of feel like mid 2000s is where like all of our favorite cars died.
Yeah.
Like a lot
Died or
of,
got fat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, bringing back to the point of our WRX, Bug-Eye WRXs, they came out in 2002.
Yeah.
That's true. Those
Some
are
of the-
those are always cool.
Arguably the golden era for a lot of enthusiasts is the 04 to 06s.
The blow-by.
Affectionately known
Apparently
as.
the Hawkeye's the best car, apparently.
I agree. I
Yeah.
don't disagree. But yeah, it's like mid 2000s. It still gave you that old school Subaru feel
Yeah.
while also managing to like feel also somewhat modern. Also, the car that I have a personal massive soft spot for, the Porsche Legacy GT, fucking 05 to 09. That's a golden era.
Yeah. Yeah, they're okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it kind of through my own lens of like, I don't know,
E90,
Europansky fanciness.
E90, E92 M3.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, I concede you are correct. 05 to like say 12
Yeah.
cars are pretty good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even my old G35 coupe, I still feel like I still get nostalgic about that thing sometimes, in that
Ew.
I still hate it. I still
Why?
hated that car. But that's
Manual?
something we'll... Sorry?
Manual?
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
That means a no.
Shut up. We'll get to that later.
Oh my god, it actually means you had an
Oh,
automatic
no.
G35 that you still talk
There's
about?
a flex.
Shut up.
Why are you a bad person?
Well, will you just let me finish this train of thought?
I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ, I can't... Okay. Even my old G35, it was an 05, but it still felt nice. And it also managed to also feel communicative.
Yeah.
You still got steering wheel, and yes, I still had 3 goddamn pedals.
Well, you weren't just saying yes.
Wait,
So I had
yeah.
to assume you were like hiding away
Or
from
are you
something
talking about the
shameful.
dead? Are you talking about the dead pedal?
No,
That's the
No.
answer.
no, that's not a pedal.
How many
But-
gears?
6, not 5. 5 is what the automatics had. I had 6 gears
All
to
right,
choose
all
from.
right.
I feel like I should give a little bit of like context to this conversation. So for those who may not be aware, Nicholas and Adwait are big fans of the Infiniti G35.
I never said I'm a big fan of the G35. I said I'm nostalgic about my particular car.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know why I'm projecting that. I think because it's you and Addy who talk about G35s a lot.
Yeah,
like
because
a
I'm
lot, a lot.
nostalgic about it.
Oh, okay.
He's the one who's... Shout out, Addy. He's the one who's obsessed with those things.
And I don't know why. Like
Because it was like it was. If you had one of those in your like high school or university days, like that was a flex.
Again, mid 2000s cars. I'm telling you, that's the next thing.
I don't. I feel like the Infiniti G35, much like certain generations of BMW 3 Series, as a car that has been absolutely ruined by the people who bought them. Just like retroactively destroyed, kind of like season 8 of Game of Thrones.
totally.
How it was like a fantastic
garbage.
how that one bad season of television ruined several years of a masterpiece that no one wants to go back and watch anymore because it was that bad. I feel like the G35 has that problem. I just like pathologically despise
G35
them.
owners.
Sorry, G35 coupes, specifically coupes. Sedans for some reason are fine; they're unscathed. Coupes, just. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say the sedans are unscathed either. They're
Less scathed. Less scathed.
I've seen the people driving sedans. They're the same people who can't. Well, they're the same people who want the coupe but can't afford it, so they go for the sedan.
Yeah. It's funny how like the Nissan 350Z and 370Z avoided this, but the Infinity's caught all of this.
Yeah.
No, but would you say the 350 avoided it though? I feel like they're all mangled, mashed.
I feel like
not to the same
ruined.
extent.
I feel like 370s have avoided it for the most part, but I definitely do see more clapped 350Zs than not.
I disagree, dude. Okay.
Really? Like find a good one.
Let's play a game. When was the last time you recall seeing a bone stock G35 coupe? Ever.
Yeah, no, it's been forever.
Yeah, now when was the last time you saw a bone stock 350Z? Because I saw one 2 days ago.
same
I saw
thing,
it.
Yeah.
I saw a bone stock G35 coupe last week.
What about before that?
Oh.
This is the exception that proves the rule.
No, but a 350Z, same thing. Like I don't see them
You
around.
don't see a lot.
It's been a long time since I've seen a
You
clean
don't see a lot
350.
of them, but like, I don't know. In my travels, like I see more of them clean than G35s.
I'd be curious to see what happens with the new Z.
And let's get into that.
Excellent.
Yeah. So this week, John has a Nissan. We keep calling it a 400Z. We keep calling it a
So
400Z,
badly.
and it's not. It's just the Z, whatever you want to call it.
I had to bite my tongue just now not to call it a 400.
The fair lady, if you're a fancy boy. And I think it's pretty good. Like, I like it. I don't love it. I generally like it. And I think, and anyone who knows me, who's listening to this, knows I probably like it because it feels like an old car.
Yeah.
Because it's an old car.
Yeah. So, first of all, I think it's literally the same press car we had last year.
Oh, don't do that to me, son.
He actually might be right, though.
They're both blue and manual.
They're
and
both blue, manual, like same spec.
What
Like,
is the mileage, guys? What's the mileage on that thing?
what is the mileage on that
Yeah,
thing?
do you guys know?
Not off the top of my head. I didn't
Should I, like, walk off bike and go find out right now?
I didn't touch it yet, but after this I will go and look at my review from last year and verify the plate
Yeah.
because I'm pretty sure it's the same car.
Yeah. That wouldn't surprise me
Anyway,
at all.
Well,
That's point number one. Point number two, I think it's one of the best new cars on the market. New old cars on the market.
Oh,
yeah, no, it is. Okay, so I had the automatic presser.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt the same way. It was this
Yeah.
weird, like, this car is objectively not good,
Yeah.
but I'm having a good time.
It just triggers a certain sense of nostalgia that really, it just all combines to, like, I don't know. Very few cars can really match the sense of nostalgia that the new Z
Yeah.
it
offers.
feels right. To channel like my influence from regular car reviews. Like I just like the way it feels. It
Yeah.
feels very right.
Yeah.
Like the steering is organic and it's good and it's well weighted and it's natural and it's nice. I
Yeah.
like the chunky crunchy shifter that you and I were talking about earlier,
It
Imran.
reminds me of my G35, which was
Because it's the same
manual.
gearbox.
It
It's the
literally
same
is.
CDO6 gearbox.
Nick's really trying to save that car.
Yeah, I like that it's set up
car.
like kind of roly-poly 90s-ish,
is.
where it has like a good amount of
Yeah.
give. It
Yeah.
has like a fair bit of body motion, but not in a terrible way. And anyone who's buying one of those to go fast is gonna do aftermarket things to it anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say, like, some of the like mid corner handling was a little too like all over the place for me a little bit, but
Yeah.
but overall, like, yeah, it had this nostalgia feel to it.
And it looks great.
It's
Yeah.
surprisingly tail happy. I love the look.
That's a
Yeah.
fantastic looking
when-
car. Like they crushed that. They
when I-
nailed that.
And you can actually get it in some pretty wild specs as well. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure you can get it. I'm pretty sure you can still get it with the blue interior.
Nice.
Yeah, mine had the blue interior. It was
Yeah,
great.
your
I loved it.
your automatic. I'm not sure if you can spec the yellow with the blue interior. That'd be kind of
That'd
gaudy.
be like peak terrible.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it does everything that a car enthusiast wants, right? But where it loses me is the price.
That's what's wrong with that car. If that
Yeah.
car were 20 grand cheaper, it'd be like 17 out of 10 perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah, but 20 grand cheaper is, what is the MSRP?
64 for our tester.
yeah,
64.
that's a lot of.
You're
thing
you're
is, like-
knocking on super territory at that point.
You are, and but the thing is like, you knock 20 grand off, you're talking about, you're a few grand away from a BRZ. Like, that's,
Okay,
Are
you're
you
right.
though?
it's like,
No,
No,
you-
wait, how much is it?
the BRZ's like 39, like on the highest version, I think. Yeah.
no, I have Subaru Canada open on my tab right now.
Okay, so like
Like,
maybe 20 is a bit of a stretch. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm just being cheap, but like
yeah, 10 to 15
the
perhaps.
problem is
yeah.
that in its price range right now, it's 64. You're within spitting range of a Supra. You're within spitting range of the CT4V Blackwing I had last week. So you get like another turbo V6 engine
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
a way better chassis, a way more modern chassis, and another set of doors and a trunk you can actually use for like 6 grand more.
Yeah,
Like there's a lot of like kind of no-brainer ups or down moves from that car.
Yeah.
It's in a weird
Fair.
no man's land.
the most expensive BRZ you can get with a stick is $33,495.
33?
Yeah.
Jesus.
So it's
Really?
So it's a solid 10 grand cheaper than a base Z. They start at about 45. So here's where Nissan would get me back. If they found a way to make the good brakes and the limited slip diff
Yeah.
standard, if not introduced on a new trim level, price
Yeah.
it under 50 grand, then you got me back.
That's the
then.
move. Like
Yeah.
have like the base car plus they call it like the club pack or whatever that
Yeah.
gets
Yeah.
like the LSD and the brakes for like 3 or 4 more. Keep it under 50.
Yeah.
You're in pretty good shape at that point.
Funny thing is, that's what Nissan did with the 370 towards the tail end
Yeah, I
of
was
its life.
just going to say.
Yeah, they had the sport,
Wait,
all the
really?
good shit you want, and it was under 40.
Should I be in product planning?
Yeah.
Am I
No,
being
but
undervalued here?
The 370 did come down in price
Yeah.
significantly,
Yeah.
like
It
through
was a
its life cycle.
steal
Well,
when
yeah,
it
because
was
they
like
paid off the
30.
tooling like 100 years
Yeah.
ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that thing was a steal when it was 30 grand.
So speaking of which, though, we're talking about the high price of the Z, and the Nismo Z is on its way.
dude, with a Nismo Z, give me the Supra any day of the week.
I would think so.
Considering,
as well.
like, okay, I know we obviously haven't driven the Nismo Z yet, so I'll reserve my final judgment until we spend some seat time with it. But given your experience with the 9-speed automatic, I'm kind of already leaning towards the Supra.
Yeah, I will bow down in amazement if Nissan turns that 9-speed into something other than utter dog shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will totally bow down to that if they're capable.
I-
Apparently, there's a lot of mechanical and software changes.
I believe it. I have like every confidence that they will very much like we all thought Subaru wouldn't make a CVT interesting. I have every confidence that they will make that transmission good and tight and crisp
Yeah.
and responsive and like justify it.
Right?
I don't think it'll get anywhere. Just how old that chassis is. I don't think it'll get anywhere close to how tight the Supra is. Like, there's just no way. Like, and also that 9-speed is like hamstrung with whatever Nismo throws at it, and it's competing with a Supra with a BMW motor and a ZF8.
Yeah.
Like you're sorry, no, you're losing. I will be shocked to my core if it comes even close.
Yeah.
And I say I like Nissans. Like I grew up playing Gran Turismo. I have a special affinity for Nissans. I adore them. I really wanted to love the Z, and it's good. It's just not. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
know.
that's fair.
It's just too like I feel like a base car. The car Nick's talking about,
Yeah.
this car that doesn't exist. A base plus a sport pack would be like pretty excellent.
Yeah.
like really good.
I am super curious about this Nismo though. I agree with you. I don't have lofty expectations that it'll
Yeah.
dethrone
Yep.
anything, but I am still very curious just because with the current Z, it's they somehow got it wrong and right somehow, and I feel like with the Nismo they're going to do the same thing. So I'm just very curious as to what it's going to be like.
I feel like the only thing wrong with the Z, Fairlady, whatever, 400 is like its price tag.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't like. Okay, actually, talk to me. Like, what are we getting for the 64 grand above and beyond the base car outside of the Brembos and a limited slip?
Like feature wise?
Yeah, like is the base car cloth seats? I legit don't know. Like,
I don't know
because
either.
I've never seen one.
Base car does have cloth seats. I think it has a slightly smaller infotainment screen.
Oh,
no
it has
Bose audio, I
the-
guess,
no
which
Bose-
wasn't great anyways.
Yeah. No highs, no lows. Must be Bose.
I've never heard that. Really? But I agree.
Did you teeth that from me, or did you teeth that from... No, that's also regular car reviews, isn't it?
No, I teed that from a former Double Clutch alum.
That's pretty good.
You get the smaller brakes, open diff, and no lip spoiler. And I think
18s, I think, instead of 19s?
I think they're 18s, and I think the seats are different.
Like
They get a
leather
little-
with like cloth inserts or some garbage like that?
I think
or-
they're fully cloth, but they have a bit less bolstering.
Okay.
Oh, speaking of the seats, just because I have a terrible attention span, but those Nismo seats look cool.
I've not seen them.
No?
They're largely the same as the previous Nismo.
I don't know. They look cool. I don't know if they're
Which they
comfier
look
stuff.
They,
They
look
pretty damn
great.
cool.
To be fair, they kind of look like a reskin version of the old Nismo cars, but they do look really cool.
Yeah. Are they Recaros? Are they?
I think they were in the old one. They were.
Yeah, I think they are again. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that looked kind of cool. But yeah, curious to see what that'll be like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, for like 65, 70 grand, it's up against a lot of stiff competition.
Yeah, like what does a Cayman start at now? Yeah, at one point it was 60s.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is
Yeah,
today,
I don't know
but-
anymore, to be honest. And like, there's also like, what does a Cayman start at, and what does a Cayman that you would want cost out the door?
Or can get.
Yeah.
Because if you
Yeah.
walk into a Porsche dealer and say, I will take a base Cayman, no
Yeah.
options,
No,
they're
you're
going to say,
No.
get out.
No,
Yeah.
you're not.
Yeah.
So that kind of leads us to our next vehicle in the garage. In addition to the 911 GTS, we also got a Taycan GTS.
So how do we all feel about the cream color on that car? Because like it's
No.
like an exterior cream
I'm-
metallic kind of color with like cream accents and brass inside.
That's a lot of cream.
No.
I love it. It looks
Really?
so good.
Serious?
First
Yes.
of all, you also like the white on white Mustangs we had last year,
Cocaine spec.
which I
Super cocaine spec.
did not
Thank you.
like. So let's just put it that
White
way.
on, we had a white on white?
No, we
Yeah.
had a like quintuple white Mustang.
Yeah.
So it was like white with like white taillights and white wheels and
Oh,
white interior.
goodness.
It was like a nod to like a '93 commemorative edition thing.
Okay.
So
They
it doesn't-
tragically didn't call it the Vanilla Ice package.
So it
They just
doesn't.
call it Ice.
It doesn't surprise me that you're a fan of the spec.
Okay, hang on. Can I backpedal?
on the
Okay,
Taycan.
can I have like an opportunity to defend myself here? Because there
No.
are people
No,
out
you
there
shouldn't.
listening to me right now who think I'm an awful person for liking this
Yeah,
white on
they're
white
right.
Mustang.
You guys are right. You're right.
Yeah, fuck. I don't know. About respect. I'm a bad person.
Why do you like
someone in my
cream?
neighborhood has one now.
Yeah.
Like who actually bought one, spend the money at 64 grand on a quintuple white Mustang. I'm like, that thing looks fucking dope.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
I know it's a guilty pleasure. I know it's bad. I know it's bad. I know I'm bad for liking
Okay,
it, and I
get
don't
the,
care.
the white on white
Yeah.
cool, but like cream?
I'm not big on the color.
Oh, have you guys not been following fashion lately? I have been told by many colleagues at my other line of work that cream off-white is super, super in right now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very in. It's very fashionable.
Well, it's also cream. The Taycan is also cream on beige, tan leather.
no.
And it also has
Cream
the,
on like triple.
It also has the neodyme, which is Porsche's fancy way of saying gold, interior accents, which I am definitely not a fan of.
Oh, you're just wrong, dude. Like the modern trend that we saw in like the Toyota Crown and some BMWs of like brass or gold or copper, whatever accents, I'm super into it. I love it. I'm over chrome. I'm over brushed. This copper stuff, yeah,
Okay,
give me that. It's
when
so
I saw,
good.
when I saw it on the Crown, I thought that looked pretty wicked too.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like on the Taycan. Adi stole that for this evening, so I didn't
Yes.
get a chance to see it. But
It looks very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the
Also,
cream
the
on
cream
the
looks very
outside,
good.
no,
No,
I didn't.
yeah.
It's one of those things. It's like the zircon sand Miata.
That was also a no.
No, that's a yes, dude.
No,
that's
man.
aggressively yes.
So with the Taycan, like the photo you guys sent, Rush was standing next to it, and
Yeah.
it made me dislike Rush.
Okay, so here's I just want to qualify talking about my upping beige and off-white. I'm 32 years old. Just so we're all on the same page here. I am not a bitter old man, and I think the cream looks very nice, and the zircon sand looks fucking fantastic.
We'll talk about zircon sand another day because I have thoughts about that and Mazda's color palette for the Miata, but we'll get into that some other day. Aside from the color scheme, I do think the Taycan is a pretty solid EV, sporty EV.
Yes.
It makes a good first impression.
Is it the one EV? Because I've yet to find one where it actually has personality. Actually, I drove the RS e-tron.
Yeah, well,
and that
yeah.
was
they're basically
So they're on the same platform.
Identical.
I find the RS e-tron had a little more personality to it.
Really?
But I think, well, because, and I could be wrong, and it's been a bit, so I might be a little off base on this, but I feel like it was calibrated just to be a little tighter. It felt more interesting to me.
Yeah.
I also only spent a few minutes in the Taycan, so I may be wrong.
Yeah.
But I drove one last year, and I remember thinking, like, wow, this is great. It does the thing of, and I forget who said this first, it wasn't me, but like it's an EV that feels like a car that happens to be electric rather than just an
Yeah.
EV.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because where the 911 GTS doesn't really evoke much of a sense of emotion for me, I also find the Taycan one of the more engaging EVs money can buy.
Definitely.
Because you actually do feel things in the steering wheel.
You feel things. It is good. It has like a lot of visual presence and drama and flair. It
Yeah.
looks like $1,000,000. That's also, it's a very compromised shape. Like the back seat is trash.
Yeah.
Right.
You have like pretty garbage headroom. Your cargo space is compromised. Like trying to park the thing is kind of a pain from what I've
Yeah,
heard from others.
they're wide as
because they're like chunky, girthy hips.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
and that's part of why the car looks like $1,000,000.
It does.
Yeah.
Like actually, I think that is actually one of the best looking new cars you can buy. It's so good looking.
Yeah,
Especially
it's,
in cream on cream.
unmistakable.
Just get out.
Yeah,
Get out.
But it's an unmistakable look. Like
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
mistake it for anything else.
Yeah.
And it still has that like, it looks like a Porsche.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It looks like a Porsche. There's no like,
Yeah.
oh, they're going off and doing something different. Like, no, that's very distinctly a
Yeah.
Porsche silhouette.
Does the tester we have, does it have the and I think this is actually like a package that you buy, but like a sound enhancer thing?
It
where-
sure does. It
It
sounds like the
does.
Starship Enterprise.
in a good way?
love it.
Yeah.
Yes,
I love it.
They have
Okay,
implemented
okay.
it a lot better than other manufacturers have, which we will discuss shortly.
Yes. By and large, it does remind me a lot of the RS e-tron GT, this sound. Apparently,
Okay.
Audi went through great lengths to differentiate the sound of the RS e-tron from the Taycan.
It's a little more subtle in the Audi.
From what I've read, one of these sound engineers got his main inspiration from a plastic tube being blown through a fan.
What?
That might be the most German thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, so it's a mix of a lot of different things, but I believe his main inspo was a plastic tube or a plastic pipe.
Okay, so for anybody listening, and we should have a sound clip queued up, but we don't because we're still
Tim
figuring out how to
dropped
do
the
it.
ball.
We're getting
Because
there.
Tim dropped the ball.
Damn it, Tim.
It sounds good. Like it sounds,
It does.
but
It sounds cool.
But it sounds like typical like Starship noises.
Wait, are we talking about the RS e-tron or are we talking about the Taycan?
The Taycan. The Taycan like
Okay.
really lays it on thick. I found the RS
Yeah.
e-tron was a little more
Subtle.
more
Nuanced,
subtle.
okay.
Not subtle, but more
Yeah.
subtle. Whereas
Yeah.
the Taycan, it's constantly there. It's always on. Or at least I didn't turn it off, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah,
And it's just very like background present. It never
Yeah.
disappears.
yeah. I think it's cool. I'm a big fan of the sound. I think we have an interesting relationships with EV and sound in that we appreciate the sounds, but we also appreciate the cool noises. But
Yeah.
You know.
Well, like I said, like if you were deaf, would it be interesting? EVs don't suffer from this.
yeah,
Like the auditory element of a vehicle is so critical to
Yeah.
its experience.
yeah,
Yeah, but I would argue like for an EV it kind of is too, because even though it's fake, it does elicit.
I'm not saying it's
emotion.
not. I'm not saying
Yeah.
it's not. It's interesting how like all these manufacturers have been trying to find different ways to
Yeah.
augment what's been lost
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
internal
fair
combustion.
enough. Like we have, what was it, the Challenger that you heard, the electric one that you said sounds terrible, that has like a speaker-based exhaust.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
bad and not good.
and then,
Yeah.
and then there's BMW. I haven't heard it in person, but
Yeah.
BMW apparently worked with Hans Zimmer. I
Yes.
think.
But like it's they're all kind of the same, like Starship Enterprise warp core noise, just to varying degrees and varying pitches, and they're all trying to hit the same 432 megahertz note. Like it's like there's a target and they're all hitting it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know. I'm here for it. By and large, I think the Taycan GTS is a much better overall package, especially for the money. As tested, it's about 210 grand. I think it's a much better overall package than the other very expensive and very dumb EV that we have this week. And I can already see the steam coming out of Nathan's ears.
The Jelly Bean.
The Jelly Bean with a 3-pointed star.
the fact that it's a jelly bean is probably the only part of the car that I'm okay with.
What?
It's okay.
Yes.
Well, hang on.
You like
hang
all
on.
the things we don't like.
Well, hold up. No, I'm not saying I like it, but I get it. It's an EV. It has to look like a spaceship. It has to be like slippery and teardroppy. I get
Yeah.
that. I will forgive that.
Taycan says no.
Taycan does say no.
Yes,
So,
but okay. So let's backpedal. We also have that Nick forgot to mention at the beginning of the podcast because it is so forgettable. Is a 2023 Mercedes EQS AMG, whatever it's called.
yeah.
Yeah.
In black on black on black, because of course it is. Because everyone has to be badass in a stupid EQS AMG. And I am not a fan. And if I can climb onto a soapbox for a second, when I was a kid, my mom used to work at Mercedes. And for whatever my birthday weekend was, she would always bring home whatever the new hotness was.
Aw.
And for 3 years, it was an S600, a W140 chassis,
Okay,
like bank
okay.
fault, like
Yeah.
tank S600.
Yeah, Mafia
And I
Lord.
remember like bombing around in this car for the whole weekend. Just being impressed by power windows and wood, because we were always
Yeah.
driving like pleb spec Fords.
Side note, did your Ford smell like old dog food?
Oh.
I didn't notice at the
Well,
time. I thought that's what cars smelled like. I was so impressed that the Mercedes didn't smell like dog food. It smelled like leather and wood and like general excellence,
Yeah.
which I
Yeah.
find is lacking in this EQS.
Yeah.
It is a vehicle with a 3-pointed star on the front and an S on the back, and it should fucking stand for something. And on this shitbox, it doesn't. It is sloppily built.
Yeah.
One of the caps has fallen off the wheels. The windshield is already cracked. On the corner, there's no damage. It's just cracked. I've seen a bunch of other Benzes. They're just crappily built.
Oh, the key fob's faded.
Key fob is fading.
Yeah.
I noticed that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what the
Yeah.
Literally the first press car that I've had where the key fob's been
Yeah,
faded.
like the
come
like
on.
the leather work on the interior is like pretty subpar, especially like behind
Yeah.
the headrest where,
Yeah.
where it comes up. Like it's
And we're talking $200,000.
it's a $200,000 Mercedes flagship. It is an S. It is supposed to be the standard bearer for the rest of the world for decades. That's
Yeah.
what these cars are and were supposed to be. And this car is not.
Yeah,
and I
I-
fucking hate
It misses
it.
the
It is
mark in
atrocious.
a lot of ways.
So I feel like they, what do they say? The 3 screens that are one screen is 55
The
inches or
hyper
something
screen,
like
the
that.
$11,000 hyper screen.
Yeah, it's not
That's a
one
bunch of
screen.
BS.
It's just 3
Yeah.
screens.
Yeah, it's just 3
Yeah,
screens. in
which a
a
lot
BS.
of a lot of cars have.
Yeah.
It's like
frankly, BS.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I feel like they're like, this will sell. This will sell. This is all we need to do, and this will sell.
And that's the thing. It's a very here and now gimmicky car
Yeah.
that people have been told to like because it's a Mercedes and it's got like AMG badge and it's got all the stupid stars on the front and the vertical slats and just all the shit you'd expect to just tick off on a TikTok box of like crap that people want to see on a car. More screens, more shit, more wheels, more black, just more garbage. I fucking hate it.
I will.
The only thing that car gets really right is the accent lighting. It's fucking gangster as fuck. Other than that,
I will. Oh yeah, Mercedes does the whole like
They crush that. It's so good.
nightclub
Yeah.
look. Yeah, right. And especially with the silver trim and all that. Yeah.
It bugs me a lot that this brand new $200,000 vehicle that I was supposed to have 3 months ago and I didn't get because it was broken, so it's not even mechanically sound. It is visibly in worse condition than the 40-year-old shitbox Berlin taxi Mercedes that I had last year. Like
And
that
that's
was
saying
that was
something.
that was a $7,000 car that is 40 years old, and it wasn't like immaculately babied or anything. It was my daily driver, and like that car was impeccable.
Give us some context about your Berlin taxi.
So for anyone who's nerdy and listening, is a Mercedes 123. It was a 1981 Mercedes 200, so it was their like E-Class mid-size sedan type thing at the time. Most of the ones we got were diesels. It's like the old 240D or 300D. This car was a European spec vehicle, so it was just called 200. That was it. And I got called on this every time I brought it up. Oh, you mean a 240D? No, just 200. No letters, 200.
Yeah.
And it was just a simple carbureted gas engine, 4-speed stick, cloth seats, crank windows, manual sunroof, like a basic taxi spec Benz, and I adored that thing. And it was better built than this modern shitbox.
How sure are you that you're 32 years old? Okay. With the EQS, which that 200 probably didn't have, was 700 pound-feet of torque. Like that was pretty. I got out of that car after driving legal speeds.
Did you break your neck on the stupid brake pedal that doesn't fucking work?
I
Did
hate
you
my
notice
brake
that?
feel in that
My
car.
brain was I totally agree. But that acceleration or that torque that made me a little woozy.
Yeah, like the car's fast, but whatever. We're in a
fair
post-fast
enough.
world where
Yeah.
everything is fast.
And then this is, I'm going to age myself a little bit. I was super impressed by the turning radius.
Yeah. Okay. Like, yeah.
Four-wheel steer.
It's got four-wheel steering, but like everyone has that now. Like,
I don't know. I thought that was great. Nathan, I thought you would appreciate that.
it's nice, but like my EQE 500 that I had earlier this year, that was a 70 grand cheaper.
Yeah. Does all the same stuff.
Does all the same stuff. It's still stupidly fast. It's not quite as obnoxiously overstyled. It doesn't have the dumb hyperscreen for $11,000 extra dollars. I didn't love that either, but I didn't hate it. That made sense to me.
Also,
I was worried about it being a disposable commodity here and now, whatever throwaway piece of shit thing that would have no value in a few years, very much unlike their previous standard bearers. And this EQS AMG just leans harder into that. It's just more disposable, more flash, more throwaway, more garbage, and it's more garbagely built. And also, it's an AMG. It's supposed to feel... it's an AMG. It's supposed to be something, and it doesn't feel like... It feels exactly the same as the EQB, whatever, commuter golf cart we had
fair enough.
last year.
Also, it's like a ground-up EV.
Yeah.
But for some... Like the Taycan does a good job of...
Yeah.
I think it has charge ports on both sides.
Yep.
In a good location. The EQS has like, they're trying to mimic like a gas tank, and it's only on the rear passenger side from what I saw.
Yeah.
Like that seems weird, especially when most people are parking these in a garage and either need like the charger's probably somewhere near the front of their garage.
Yeah.
And putting it out back is just, I found that strange. And on the left side where everyone else's charger is, it's like a windshield washer fluid fill up thing.
Yeah.
What?
Wait, that's on the outside of the car?
Yeah,
Yeah.
literally. I pressed it open.
So the EQS SUV that I had last year, same setup.
That's just weird. Like, again, this is a ground up EV. Why the compromises? That's strange. Does the hood not open?
On a flagship Benz, too. I don't think it does. I couldn't figure it out on my EQE.
So I figured out how to open it on the EQS SUV. You kind of have to dig for the release, but it's just a bunch of wires in there.
Yeah, but why isn't the windshield washer fluid in? Why is that disrupting the styling of the exterior?
I get the idea of having it be externally mounted so you don't have to open a thing, because
Yeah.
people are intimidated by opening things. So you don't open the thing, this is better.
It's made for the Tide Pod generation, isn't it?
For the Tide Pod generation,
right.
just like the entire rest of the fucking shitbox.
Yeah,
I got nothing. I hate it.
for something that builds itself as a flagship of Mercedes's electric lineup, the interior just misses the mark.
Yeah, like
The
it's
fit and finish is just garbo
it's
compared to the Taycan.
it's sloppy.
Taycan.
Like, yeah, the Taycan is impeccably crafted
Yeah.
with gorgeous materials.
Right.
The EQS is like it looks to be like
very
cheap
whiz-bang.
leatherette. It's very whiz bang, like the leatherette. I don't know what the fuck is in
It
there.
looks like
It's
leatherette, actually.
already wearing
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
It's already getting like scrotumy in the corners and like never looked good on the headrest in the first place.
Yeah.
And the entire dashboard is glass, and anyone can do glass. Like fuck off. Like,
Yeah,
get
it's-
out of here. It's just
It's
more
really not
screens.
that impressive. And to be
Yeah.
honest, like looking at S classes, like they're they feel like they're in a different league, and they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Like the EQS should be the one
it
who's
should
like
be, it should be the electric version of the
baton.
same thing. Yeah.
But it's not.
It
Yeah.
baffles me that Mercedes just didn't simply release an electric version of the S-Class.
Yeah.
Like that would have been much more befitting of the flagship moniker.
Yeah, 100%. Like the I briefly drove an S580 a couple weeks ago, and like so it's the big fire breathing angry V8,
Right.
and it's silent. Like even
Yeah.
when you're like revving it in park, it is
Yeah.
silent.
Yeah.
It is just like a fan blowing.
Right.
So like that would make
A
a lot of
better
sense for
interior.
electrification,
Yeah.
because you're already trying to hide from the fact that it's a gas car in the first place. Just
Right.
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get with the like one thing I like about the Taycan and even the RS e-tron is that their interiors are not too far deviated from a traditional car.
Yeah.
Whereas
No, I find that the Taycan's interior, as lovely as it is a bit of a departure from what we're used to in terms of automotive design. I feel like the RS e-tron is much closer to what we're used to. And,
okay, that's
Yeah,
fair.
I give you that. Yeah.
and that kind of boils down to one simple fact: it has the physical buttons for the climate control.
Yeah, no, fair enough. But both of those compared to this EQS.
Oh yeah, those feel much more conventional, much nicer, much better built.
Yeah, and I don't get why manufacturers like Mercedes and like many others think that we're asking for different when what we're really asking
Yeah.
for is just an electrified S-Class.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just a case of like, well, they don't know what to do. How do we differentiate? How do we give our car character and differentiate it from everything else if everyone is making the same golf cart, the same teardrop shaped golf cart?
Yeah.
Because they all have to be that shape to be aerodynamically efficient. And they all have to hit the same notes and have more screens. And they have to lean into the technology thing because it's electric. And that's what it's supposed to be because that's what Elon said.
Yeah, but
And
it's
that's
like
what Instagram said.
is like an
because Elon
S-Class
said it first.
S-Class owner asking for 500 plus kilometers of range. Do they care? Like, or they just want
I think
serenity?
I think the range is important. Like the technical like competence and mastery is like a cornerstone of what made the S and S
fair.
superb,
Yeah. As for superb.
or whatever the German word for superb is. But I feel like this is just a lot of whiz bang gimmickry just to do something to capture anything.
Yeah, I think we're all unanimous in that it's a fail.
Yeah. Yeah. In terms of it's just such a letdown.
Yeah, it's not something that I would be spending the fictional $200,000.
Yeah.
Because I certainly don't have that. I'd much rather spend that on. Well, I know you guys wouldn't, but perhaps that 911.
I wouldn't spend that money on the 911 either. Give me if I had $200,000 to drop on a very fancy, very very expensive kind of sporty-ish coupe, give me an LC500, and with that extra money, I'll buy an ND Miata.
Always a Miata.
2 coupes?
One's convertible.
Fair. I feel like the move is like an IS500 and a Miata.
That's slightly more practical.
Yeah. Or a Z4. I really a Z for $200,000 a Z4 and an IS500. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the move.
You got a lot of driveway space, eh?
No. Yes. It's 2 cars. Whatever. If you can afford to park that stupid behemoth and get a charging port, you probably have space for
You're
another
not getting
car.
rid of the Beetle.
I love my Beetle. But if I have $200,000, no, I'm not selling the Beetle. Fuck it.
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I don't think I'd ever be spending $200,000 on a car, even if I had the money. There's a lot of old stuff that I just like, and I think my money would end up there.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Especially with the way like EVs have been like we've seen that like just falling off of a cliff depreciation wise. Like,
Yeah.
so why would you drop $200,000 on one so it's going to be 130 the next year? Like you're just pissing money straight down the
can't
toilet so as to not bite gas. Like fuck off.
I can't fathom how poorly the EQS will age.
Oh, it's gonna even its
Jesus.
design language is gonna
Yeah.
die
Yeah,
so fast.
Like AMG's already like fall off a cliff depreciation wise. Now throw a $8 billion battery pack into it. Like ugh, no.
Yeah. Jeez. Well, I think that just about brings us to the end. What do we got next week?
Next week, we have a Range Rover Autobiography SV that is coming back into the fleet. We have had the privilege of already reviewing it. It's just coming back home because I'm actually not sure why. Some scheduling delay that I'm not going to argue about.
Yeah. I have a Mini Countryman S Untamed Edition.
Yeah. We have a Ford F-150 Raptor R next week, if my memory serves correctly. Yes, we do.
I'm very curious about that.
I'm very curious as to how much Raptor it'll be over the regular Raptor.
Yeah, more Raptor.
One R more.
Raptor R.
Raptor-er.
For men.
You'll have to let us know if it has the floppy knob in it.
Oh,
I'm sure it has a floppy knob.
Good
It's an
call,
F-150.
that.
They all have floppy knobs.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
It's just a floppy knob.
And on that bombshell, thank you all for tuning in. It's been a slice. We will see you next week. And before we sign off, be sure to follow us on socials at DoubleClutch.ca. And like, subscribe, rate us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, or pretty much wherever else you
It really does
guys
go
get
a
your
long
podcasts.
way to rate and engage, and like it bumps us up, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, everyone.